Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Ockwell-Smith. Welcome to my latest SOS parenting video. Today I want to talk about when sleep isn't normal. So if a baby or a toddler's sleep is really difficult and you've tried lots of sort of gentle things to help to improve their sleep, but you've got this kind of nagging doubt that something isn't quite right, or they're a little bit older and the sleep is really, really difficult. So what I do when I do consults with parents is, first of all, we'll take a bit of background information just to double check if we're looking at truly normal infant sleep or if we're looking at something a little bit abnormal. So the things that I would consider if I was not noticing any positive change in my child's sleep, and here I'm kind of talking sort of 6 months old and plus, or when you're expecting sleep to be a little bit easier. And also I think it's really important to highlight that gut instinct we have, that parental instinct, when you just think something isn't quite right here, there's that nagging doubt, and it's so important to listen to your instinct. So what sort of things do I look at? Well, the first thing that I would think about is, are there any allergies? Is there any discomfort? So we're looking at something like cow's milk protein allergy, an allergy to something environmental, or an allergy to something that the child's eating. So what that can do is cause anything from gastrointestinal discomfort through to skin irritation as well, and sort of lots of sneezing if we're talking something like hay fever. So if you think there's an allergy, the best thing that I could suggest that you do is go and speak to your family doctor, and they'll help you look into it. What else? So the next thing I want to talk about is something called enlarged adenoids and something called sleep apnea. So the adenoids are part of their immune system. You sort of find them deep at the back and the top of the nose. They're the things that you're aiming to reach when you do the COVID lateral flow test. And for young children, the adenoids and the tonsils, also another part of the immune system, are commonly enlarged. But for some children, they're really very enlarged, and that can cause difficulty breathing. And what you'll find is these children tend to mouth breathe almost all the time, not just when they're asleep, but during the day too. Quite often you'll see lots of snot as well. They might have recurrent ear infections. They may have hearing issues because things are so blocked up. But at night, what they tend to do, as well as sleeping with their mouth open, you'll hear them snoring quite heavily. If this does apply, then what happens is sometimes they can struggle to get enough oxygen, and you might see them gasp or stop breathing temporarily. And what happens is this means that they will wake very often, not only because the lack of oxygen disrupts the sleep, but also because they get a really dry mouth when they sleep in with their mouth open all the time. You can imagine, when you've got a cold and you sleep with your mouth open, how sore your throat is the next morning. So again, if you do think this is an issue, go and have a chat with your health visitor or your family doctor, and just mention that you're concerned that your child has very enlarged adenoids and you think it may be impacting their sleep as well as maybe other aspects of their life too. What else would I consider? So I'd also consider the microbiome, which is gut flora. You'll have heard, I'm sure, sort of adverts on TV talking about good gut bacteria. So we need all of this gut bacteria for so many, it's involved in so many different sort of systems and elements in our body. But one thing that there is emerging evidence coming out is that it also impacts on our sleep. So the gut bacteria that we have in our body has an impact on the circadian rhythm and the control of melatonin, the sleep hormone. So if your child's microbiome isn't optimal, not only could it cause them discomfort, and you might see sort of gastric upset, but also things like refluxy type symptoms or colicky type symptoms, or maybe sort of diarrhea or constipation. But as well as that, it can also have an impact on the regulation of sleep. So that's definitely, again, something that you can have a chat with your doctor about, or you could do some research into whether you think it may be an idea to give your child a child's probiotic supplement. So again, you'll find lots if you Google about that. What else? So sometimes there are deficiencies, nutrient deficiencies in what children eat that can impact their sleep. So probably the most common one here is an iron deficiency. When children are deficient in iron, what happens is it can cause lots of sort of restlessness in their sleep. So you'll find them fidgeting lots and sort of restless legs and stuff, and they'll just like constantly move around the bed or the cot more than, regular moving around the bed or the cot that a baby or toddler will do. And here also it's good to look at what they eat and think, do I think they are deficient? deficient in iron. The best source I can give you for that is if you Google for the British Dietetic Association, and they have a great fact sheet about iron that tells you how much a child should be eating at a certain age, and then all it's simply a case of looking at what they eat, thinking, do they have enough, and then trying to get more iron-rich food in their diet, which is, easier said than done if you have a toddler, and toddlers are naturally picky, but then you end up in this sort of a bit of a vicious cycle in that they're not eating enough iron, and then that makes them a little bit pickier. So if you are worried and you can't get more iron in your child's diet, then I would recommend you go to speak to your family doctor and ask them to test your child's iron levels. You don't want to get down the route of giving an iron supplement unless you have medical support, because for numerous reasons it's not a great idea. The other nutrient that could have an impact is omega-3 or fatty acids. So there's research looking at slightly older children, sort of preschool and school age, showing that children who are deficient in omega-3 fatty acids wake more and have more what they call parasomnias. So these are things like sleep talking and sleepwalking and night terrors as well. So making sure that they have enough omega-3 oils can really help as well. The two other things that I just want to sort of leave you with an idea here is if you have a baby, I would absolutely consider feeding. So particularly, do they have something like a tongue tie? Is there a latch issue? Now this can affect both formula feeding and breastfeeding babies, and in each case, doesn't matter how your baby is feeding, I'd recommend speaking with a lactation consultant just to check that the latch is okay and there's no tongue tie. The other thing I'd maybe keep in mind, that it's unusual, it was certainly wouldn't be at the forefront of my mind with sleep difficulties, but I would consider something like sensory processing disorder, or whether your child is on the autistic spectrum. These can impact sleep numerous ways, from the sensory aspect to also the regulation of secretion of melatonin. So something to keep in the back of your head. I'm not by any means saying sleep difficulties suggest your child has autism, is on the autism spectrum, or that they have sensory processing, but it's something that I would maybe keep at the back of my head if you have any other kind of instincts that may apply to your child. So by all means, is this not a full list of things that can impact sleep, but if you are thinking, I think my child's sleep is a little bit beyond normal, these are the things that I would be thinking about first of all. If you want more information in anything I've just spoken about, this is all covered in the updated second edition of my Gentle Sleep book, the one that has stars, coloured stars on the cover and says revised and updated. So do have a read of it in there. And if you'd like to watch more videos, I release a parenting video every Wednesday. Do hit subscribe on my channel, and I'll see you next week. Thanks, and I hope that helped. Bye.